welcome to our virtual open house here at the Park Ridge Park District Preschool. My name is Molly Jacobson. I am the director of the preschool, and I am the recreation supervisor for the Park District's early childhood and preschool programs. Our goal today is to provide you with some information about our preschool program, our facility, and our faculty here at the Park District. Preschool is so much more than playing with kids for a couple of hours. It's about developing age-appropriate plans and finding ways to engage children in the learning process for the very first time. It is about recognizing them and meeting the physical, emotional, social, and cognitive needs of each individual child in a fun and creative environment. I am excited to give you a tour of our preschool and share with you some of the amazing things that we do here. Our video tour today will include an overview of our program, and then later Brooke Plofsky, our assistant director, will go over a brief explanation of our curriculum and what a typical day in our preschool looks like. And finally, we'll finish up our video with a visit to one of our classrooms. Our preschool here at the Park District operates on a half-day program. We offer 3 age groups that we work with: 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 4-year-olds. We have a 2-day program that meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays, a 3-day program that meets on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and a 5-day program that goes from Monday through Friday. Our morning sessions run from 9 a.m. to 11:30, and our afternoon sessions go from 12:30 to 3. We have a few rules in our preschool that we follow. All of our children must be age appropriate for their class by September 1st of that year. That is a District 64 rule in our local public school system, and we follow that and think it's important because it keeps the kids in their peer groups as they move through all of the different ages. All of our children must be completely potty trained. 100% potty trained, meaning that they can take care of all of their toilet needs themselves. And finally, we have a little paperwork that we need all of our families to complete. This includes some in-house paperwork, like a parent manual sign-off and a discipline procedure, as well as the Illinois Certificate of Child Health Examination and an immunization record. You can get this, it's a standard form from your doctor, and you can just request this at your child's well-being appointment. Our preschool program is proud to be licensed through the Illinois DCFS. So what does that mean? Well, DCFS stands for the Department of Children and Family Services. And they sort of act as an umbrella and provide rules and regulations for daycares and preschools around the state to operate and provide a safe environment for children. So these rules affect our staff and our facility. Some of the rules that DCFS sets forth for us are background checks on all of our staff, and that our staff has to provide a medical exam that says that they are fit to work with children. They require a certain level of educational requirements that make our teachers familiar with the field of early childhood. They require us to complete 15 hours of continued training education so we can stay up on current trends in the field of early childhood. And they require everyone on our staff to be CPR and first aid certified. The DCFS rules for our rooms are that they are large enough to accommodate a certain number of children, that all of our supplies are safe and age appropriate, and that we meet all of the safety requirements set forth by DCFS's standards. Our philosophy here at the preschool is that we are a play-based program with a focus on the social and emotional needs of children, with a goal to provide a foundation for each child to have a love of lifelong learning. So what does it mean when I say play-based and social-emotional? It means that all of our lessons focus on the emotional needs and the social growth of all of our children. So some examples of these are we teach our children how to make and interact with their friends, how to do problem-solving skills, emotional recognition, conflict solutions, and those fun self-help skills. And if you think about a foundation for learning, we like to use the analogy of a skyscraper. So the skyscraper is your lifelong learning. It can go as high as you want, as long as you provide solid scaffolding to create it to go higher and higher. But we here at our preschool program with our social emotional play-based program, like to create a solid foundation that you can start to build that skyscraper on. But that does not mean that we do not include any learning goals in our curriculum. No, that's where we get clever. So we pepper those in throughout our day, and Brooke will go over those a little bit later when she discusses the curriculum. Our facility is located here at the Main Park Leisure Center. It is a school-like setting located in a quiet neighborhood. We have access to a very large park area in the back, as well as the Wildwood Nature Center. And we have 2 gated preschool playgrounds that are closed to the community during our preschool hours. We have a private preschool entrance into the building and have a state-of-the-art security system. All of our classrooms are located in what we call our little bubble. And to get into our bubble, you have to come and see the administration office here at the preschool. And if we think that it's okay for you to get in, we can come and buzz you in. We have 6 classrooms in our bubble, and all of our classrooms are furnished with age-appropriate furniture and toys. We have 1 classroom dedicated to our 2-year-olds. We have 2 classrooms dedicated to our 3-year-olds. And we operate 3 classrooms dedicated to our 4-year-olds. Each classroom has its own child-sized bathroom located directly in the room, as well as sinks for hand washing and cleaning that have an automatic temperature-controlled faucet. Each room has 2 exits, one into a shared hallway, and the other to a directly outdoor, which we use for our fire exits. 2 of our rooms and our 4-year-olds have cubbies in the room, and the rest of the rooms use shared lockers that are in our shared hallway. We have a custodian on site who oversees all the maintenance and cleaning duties for our preschool, and we clean all of our rooms and supplies daily. Once a week, we use our Clorox 360 machine, which is an electrostatic technology that disinfects the entire room top to bottom, as well as all surfaces. Our faculty is consisted of a director, myself, an assistant director, which is Brooke, and teachers from all different disciplines. We have 2 teachers in every classroom, and we have ratios that we follow. In our 3 to 4-year-old classrooms, we have a 9-to-1 ratio, so that is 18 students with 2 teachers. And in our 2-year-old room, we have an 8-to-1 ratio, which is 16 students with 2 teachers. Our staff is made up of teachers from all different disciplines with lots of experience. So that means when we collaborate on things like our curriculum, our learning goals, things that we feel need improvement, we can bring so much different experience and so much different knowledge from all of these different disciplines, which I am proud of that we create a really well-rounded program. We are not, however, a diagnostic team. So if one of our teachers recognizes something that a child may need a little bit more support for, we suggest and recommend that that family visit the early intervention program over at District 64. We work very closely with this organization as a team, and we just want everybody to take advantage of that.
Hi, I'm Brooke Plofsky. I'm the assistant supervisor for the Park District's preschool and early childhood programs. I have been with the Park District since 2015, and at that time I decided to form a committee of teachers to establish a formal preschool curriculum for our school. So at that time, I think there were about maybe 4 of us that worked together throughout the summer, and we reviewed guidelines through District 64, our local school district, as well as the Illinois early childhood preschool guidelines as well. So we didn't just pull our ideas out of the sky. And we looked at the different points of interest that we think that our kids should be working on in order to be ready for kindergarten. So as Miss Molly talked about a scaffolding model, or like building a skyscraper, we start in our 2s, moving up to the 3s and 4s, and we made what's called our scope and sequence. So our curriculum kind of builds on top of each other. So we have different areas of our curriculum that we concentrate on. We've got social emotional skills, language development, literacy, which is pre-reading, pre-writing skills, cognitive skills, which are really like our ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, our colors, our shapes, those kinds of things. Fine motor, gross motor, as well as self-help skills. So we use our curriculum as a roadmap for the teachers, and it's kind of like a checklist for them to make sure that they go through this checklist throughout the year. They might do it in all different orders and all different ways, but they're covering all the different goals that are going to be required to be kindergarten ready. We encourage creative freedom throughout our staff, so everybody kind of puts a different flavor on their classroom style. You know, whether somebody might be, their specialty might be more science oriented, so they're going to do a lot more nature themed stuff, or animals, or using things from the outdoors. We might have somebody who's really into art. Well, all the rooms do a lot of art, but maybe they take art to a different level. I myself am very into the language arts field. That's my background in reading. So everybody kind of puts their own flair and their own style into their teaching and their lesson plans. Our lessons are all integrative, so we're using different areas of the curriculum to meet those goals. So when we talk about fine motor, an example might be using a toy that has pegs or beads in it, for instance. And so that's learning through play, but they're working on their fine motor, you know, because they're using something small, and we're working on their grasp with scissors and writing utensils and things. A unit that I did recently when our kids came back actually from winter break, we wanted to keep things really simple and fun, and we kind of just pulled something out of the sky to say, all right, let's see where our kids are and just get them back into the routine. We had a couple new students starting, so we decided something fun. How about pizza? So our topic was pizza that day, and we had a craft that involved counting and one-to-one correspondence. So that was going to meet the goals of teaching, you know, numbers 1 through 10. So we went up to through numbers 1 to 10. And the kids would roll a die, and whatever they would roll, let's say they got a 3 stands for black olives. If they rolled a 5, that meant pineapple, we actually had. If they rolled, you know, other different numbers stood for different things. So we had a chart where they had to read numbers and match numbers to pictures, and then practice their counting to count out the items that they would put on their pizza. So it was a very integrative approach of working on their math skills and their counting skills. At the same time, this is authentic assessment for the teacher, because we're working with the child and we're like, can they count, you know, from one object to the next? Are they counting in order? Can they read the number on the page? All those kinds of things are assessed. So that's kind of how our play-based program works. And then another activity they would have done that day was we concentrated on the letter P for pizza. So at one point they were going to go and they were going to use a dot marker. So they're going to stamp on a page. They've got all these letters and bubbles, and which ones have a P for pizza? Whatever has a P, they're going to stamp it. Can they find the letter P among this whole mix of letters? And then finally, a last activity was actually handwriting with a letter P. So we had a worksheet where they're working on actually forming the letter P, capital and lowercase. Story time that day, we had a book that was a pizza theme. It was a funny book, it was predictable, the kids could kind of chime in, but it was repetitive. So those are some pre-reading skills that we use. Those kinds of methods to help kids learn how to read. And then we also did a song, and they saw a video about making pizza. So that was fun as well for the kids. So we try to just integrate from all different areas and make learning fun. Another example of something we did was we spent some time doing a Humpty Dumpty lesson of nursery rhymes. That was another day. So out of that, what do? We did a fun art project where they had to cut out their Humpty Dumpty egg. So we're assessing their cutting skills as they're going around. We had them fold pieces of paper for arms and legs. So that was a fine motor skill. And then we did some sponge painting to make a wall for Humpty Dumpty. So that was a texture activity. So who really liked that and who doesn't really like to get dirty, and who, wants to have more experience and go farther with that painting, that kind of thing. Later on in the day, we read some nursery rhymes at circle time and did some rhyming with wall and fall, and kept going with that. And then later we did a sink and float activity where we did an experiment, and we had tall jars that were made of glass that we put water in, and then the kids would put different things in, and they would make predictions of what was going to sink and what was going to float. And of course we had eggs. We tried with eggs. We soaked some eggs overnight in vinegar, and then the next day, what happened to them? How did they look? What did they feel like? Could you see through them? What happened to the shell? So kind of hitting all those different areas of the curriculum and working on just checking off different skills throughout our curriculum. We don't do any formal assessments, so we do have parent-teacher conferences twice a year, so once in November and once in for the fall, and then once again in the spring. I believe we do them in April. And during that time, the teacher's going to fill out what we call our assessment form. So basically the assessment form is our curriculum checklist, but way just more user-friendly and scaled down so that a parent can look at that and go, oh, great, my kid's exploring this, or oh, you know what, my kid needs improvement on this. Maybe I need to start working with them at home on counting, and the teachers will do different activities. They'll sit down with the kids, they'll play games, they'll do puzzles, and those are different ways that they'll assess how the kids are improving and what areas that they're going to need help in. We don't give any surprises at conferences. We have an ongoing fluid relationship with parents, so we're always talking with you at pickup, at drop-off, whenever we can. You'll get a monthly newsletter to know what's going on in class, what kinds of things we covered, what are we covering next, what our themes are, special events that we have coming up, other important dates that you might need to know, reminders about different things. And we also use what we call a daily template. So the daily template is something that normally will be right outside your classroom door. It's a laminated piece of paper, super easy to read. It's got different boxes in it, and every box it says like the books we read today, what our circle time focus was, what our movement was today. So like, did we go outside? Did we go to the gym? Did we ride bikes? What did we do that day? Did we walk over to the nature center? So it'll just give you a brief description of the activities that we did that day, and then you can use it as a talking point with your child of, oh, I heard you read this book today, tell me about it. Or did you like painting? What did you paint today? So it's going to give you, it's a conversation starter for you, and to, just briefly let you know what we covered in class, and then you can kind of dig in with your child. So those are the ways that we would communicate what's going on in the classroom every day. And a typical day, the kids are going to come in, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to hang up their coats and backpacks and then wash their hands. And then from there, normally classes will have one teacher at a table where they're going to be doing some kind of small group activity or craft, depending on the age or the theme of what's going on in the class that day or that week. And then the other teacher might be at another table doing a different kind of project, or they would just be floating around monitoring children with their play and helping other kids. Depending on the age of your room, different rooms have different things, but why don't I start off with the twos. So the twos, typically our main goal is to work on separation, anxiety, and just independence, using the bathroom independently, not crying so much, sitting down on the carpet at circle time, learning how to take turns, learning to use words to problem solve, those kinds of things. Circle time activities are going to be songs, they're going to be predictable, simple books, where we're going to work on colors and numbers, and maybe shapes. So those are the kinds of things they're going to be working on in the twos. We do have a playground right outside the classroom for the youngest kiddos in the school that is fenced in, and that is where they will go out for their playground time. Moving up to the threes, a lot of the same routine, but maybe we're always kicking it up a notch with, let's say, projects or activities. So let's say if you're in a 2-year-old room, something is going to be 2 steps of directions. Then you're going to move to a 3-year-old room, and maybe they're going to have 3 steps in order to complete something. So everybody's going to have a circle time where they're going to do music. They're going to be exposed to a calendar and counting and talking about weather. They're going to be doing songs. They're going to be using instruments. We're going to be reading stories. And some classes might do show and tell, and you might have a certain kind of assignment of what you're supposed to bring in. So let's say in the threes, for example, they're going to be doing a letter of the week. So they're going to talk about what the letters, and they're not necessarily writing the letters, but they're really teaching them how to identify the letters and then letter sounds. So that's more of what they concentrate on in the threes solely. So they might have a letter of the week, and it's your turn for show and tell, and the letter of the week is R, and R is a ruh sound, so you want to bring in something that starts with an R sound. So what could it be? So somebody brings something in. Teachers use little boxes that have different objects. They call their letter boxes. So they'll take out different items that start with that letter, and you can kind of find out what kind of things and vocabulary of what the kids know, and then they'll kind of get the idea of what you're doing, and then they'll think of their own words. They all work on identifying their first name. We use cards where their names are written. And the threes, a lot of times I believe they have a picture on them, same thing in the twos. And they'll use those as much as possible. So placemats at snack time might have your name on it and a picture of your face. At some point in the year when they're going to sit down at circle time, they're going to have their name written out on a strip of paper, and they have to find their name and sit there. The teacher's going to call attendance. She's going to hold up those names. Whose name is this? Is Charlie here? Is Lisa here? And they're going to identify their names. Moving on to the fours, same sort of routine, but just kicking it up a notch again with whatever the learning goals are. So there are going to be more steps to art projects. They have a writing table in the 4-year-old room, and the writing table is a place where kids can go explore with their writing, or if you want to say pre-writing skills. So things you might find at a writing table would be different kinds of things to write with. So they might have markers, they might have colored pencils, they might have pens, they might have stamps with letters on them and ink pads, they might have little notebooks or envelopes, stickers, things like that. I've seen some teachers do some what we call a word bank. So they might have like a board, and let's say they're doing a unit on Valentine's Day, okay? Because Valentine's Day is coming up that week, and so on their word bank, they're going to have a picture of a heart, and then next to it the word heart. And they're going to have the word love, and they're going to have I love you, and they're going to have Valentine, with a picture of a Valentine. So kids can start copying words and kind of learning sight words. That's another thing they work on, is sight words in the 4-year-old room. We call them popcorn words because they are words that pop up anywhere all the time, and they're just those words that you have to memorize and be familiar with. So we have teachers that put their popcorn words on a bulletin board, or they might want to keep them at the writing center on a little loop of cards, or a piece of paper on the table, or an actual board that the kids can look at. So these are all different ways that we integrate learning through play. So a typical day at preschool is a half day. It's 2.5 hours. So if you're interested in expanding your child's day to make it a little bit longer, or even a full day, we have a few options. So to simply expand your child's day, so normally they're here for 2.5 hours, you can expand that day by another hour and 15 minutes, which gives you a little more time to do what you want to do outside of school. And obviously if your child just wants more and needs more social interaction and development, is just really enjoying themselves at preschool, you can add that time on. So every day of the week, we offer what we call enrichment classes. So enrichment classes, the kids will have about 30 minutes to eat lunch, so you're going to send them with a nut-free lunch. And then the rest of the class, another 45 minutes, is the actual enrichment class. So a couple of examples of things that might be some options in the past that we've run are, we might have a sports class. So the first half hour, the kiddos are going to have their lunch, and then they're going to go down to the gym and they're going to do sports. So whatever it may be, either floor hockey, basketball, soccer, relay race games, whatever it is. We have a contracted group that comes out and does sports with the kids. Another option might be our Dino Diggers class. That is all about dinosaurs. So the first 30 minutes they're going to have their lunch, and then after that they're going to do they're going to learn all about dinosaurs. Many things that I've seen them do. They've made dinosaur footprints with paper mache. They have made fossils. They have cracked, have huge eggs made out of ice with little dinosaurs inside, and they're chopping away. They have actually made a dinosaur footprint as long as a real dinosaur's footprint was, at 8 feet long. How big is that? They cut the thing out, they put it out in the hallway, and they measure it. Look how big that footprint is. The teacher will give them all kinds of fun facts. Those are just some examples of some kinds of things they might do in that class. Another class could be, we have a contractor called Kid Rock that comes in. And that class is all about dance and movement. So they're going to do, if your kid likes to dance and move around and they want to burn off some energy, Kid Rock is a great class for them. They're going to dance, they're going to sing, they're going to use instruments, scarves, parachute, balls, bubbles, all the kind of stuff that little kids like. So those are just a few examples of some things that we have to offer. We try to balance it out so that you have one sort of more social class and then one more, maybe a little more academic class. So you have something to choose from on each day. All these classes have different prices. Our contractors are going to be a little more pricey than our in-house staff. These classes run in the afternoon. So they're going to run for our morning children and preschool at 11:30. So if they had enrichment, they would get to stay until 12:15. So we would walk them from their class to their enrichment class. So you do not have to come back to the building to transfer them between rooms. You just drop them off at 9, pick them up at 12:15. So you have that whole extra span of time. If your child is going to school in our afternoon preschool is from 12:30 to 3, they would do their enrichment class before preschool class. So they would come, I think it usually is at 11:15, and they would start at 11:15, have their enrichment class for the first 45 minutes, then they would eat lunch, and then they would be dropped off at preschool. So you would drop them off at 11:15, come back at 3. So that's how the enrichment works. Classes do fill up quickly, so as soon as we have everything available, we have descriptors of what all the classes are about, what staff is teaching them, some of the goals that we work on in that class, and you can make your selection of what you think works best for your child. We also have what's called our full day program, which is called Playtime Pals. And Playtime Pals incorporates a morning play group, enrichment, and afternoon preschool. So if you want to have a full day for your child, it will go from 9 to 3. And your child will automatically be in our afternoon preschool program. They will go to Playtime Pals first, which is another classroom on the other end of this building, where there will be a combination of kids who are in 3 and 4-year-old preschool classes. I forgot to note that enrichment and Playtime Pals, you have to be in a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old classroom in order to qualify for those classes. So the 2-year-olds are not in the full day program. We don't have a nap time or anything like that. So it's more appropriate for our 3 and 4-year-olds. If your child is in a 2-year-old class and they turned 3 that year, it still doesn't qualify. They have to be enrolled in our 3-year-old program from the beginning, or 4-year-old. So the Playtime Pals is that morning play group. They're going to be playing, they're going to be doing crafts, they're going to be hearing stories, they're going to have snack, they're going to go out to the playground or to the gym. Very simple. Not like a lot of structured stuff like we would have in our preschool rooms. So it's a little more laid back, and you're going to have that combination of 3 and 4-year-olds in the Playtime Pals. Enrichment classes are also going to be 3 and 4-year-olds. We will recommend to you an age guideline, like we might say, you know, our ABC learners class, or letter learners class, is recommended for 3.5 and up. So if your child is newly 3, maybe they're not going to be ready for that class until 2nd semester. So please take those age ranges seriously, because we're really trying to get the best quality class and what your kid is going to sit and be interested in and be able to really soak up and learn and is age appropriate. So the Playtime Pals Day is really built, stacked classes on top of each other. So the Playtime Pals in the morning, then their enrichment class in the middle where they'll all have lunch, and then afternoon preschool. So they will be taken throughout the building. You drop them off at 9, pick them up at 3. We'll transfer them throughout the building. We do have rolling carts where we will hang everybody's stuff on, so that, you know, in the months where you've got the coats and the boots and jackets and all those things, we keep everything together. And I would make sure and label everything, because, you know, when they're transported from room to room, sometimes things can move around, but we do our best to keep everything together so that, you know, all the kids have all their belongings. The other thing to mention is we do have before care. So before care starts at 8 o'clock, so from 8 to 9, and that takes place in the same room that Playtime Pals is in. So you would just drop them off at 8. Some people might drop them off at 8:20 or 8:30. They just want that extra time. They might not always drop off at 8 o'clock, but you just need that extra buffer of an hour, maybe with, you know, your job or some other transportation of other children that you need to take care of. So we're here for you. We do also offer aftercare from 3 to 4, but that is done through the Nature Preschool. So they will be staffing that hour after preschool. So that is a typical day at the Park Ridge Park District Preschool. So next we're going to go on a virtual tour on the classrooms, and I can kind of show you one of our 4-year-old rooms having circle time, and just kind of identify some different areas of the room and see what they're working on.
All right. Hi, I'm Miss Michelle. I teach the 4-year-olds preschool 5-day-a-week program. So this is our classroom. If you come along this way, we have a writing center here. The children go to their cubbies and they grab their marker boxes, and they're able to copy some words that are up here that we've been working on. These are winter words for the winter months, and they can come and draw, or they can draw pictures, and there's extra paper they can cut and glue. But we kind of focus on trying to copy some of the words that we have here at our writing center. Over here is our circle time center. We talk about the days of the week and what month and what day. We talk about weather. We have a pattern that we work on. We count out the bubble gums, and we talk about our letter of the week. And that is usually done after playing around in the morning, playtime. And then we have a song that we do usually, and we sing and dance here. And they all sit on their towels. Right here we spread them out. And we talk about letters of the week. We read a story, we do some songs, and then we get ready for snack time.
All right, ready?
Five little snowmen jumping in the snow. One fell off and bumped his toe. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, no more snowmen jumping in the snow.
How many? Four, you're right, four.
Four little snowmen jumping in the snow. One fell off and bumped his toe. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, no more snowmen jumping in the snow.
On your left. Three. Right, hi, I'm Miss Denise. I teach with Miss Michelle in the 4-year-old preschool Monday through Friday mornings. I'm gonna give you a little tour of our room, the areas we play. We have our kitchen area where we bring toys in every day for the kids to play with, pots and pans and food, and they can play in the kitchen. We have dolls that we bring in for them. We have our doll house. Over here is our reading corner where they can come and get a book. They can sit on the couch and look at the stories. And a lot of times we like to put some table toys on this table for them. Today we have puzzles out that they can work on. We have our Lego table that we usually put large blocks on. Today we have our castle on it that they were using this morning during playtime. Over here we have our science center where we like to rotate different things that we find outside, maybe when we've been on a walk. Right now we have some bottles. This one is supposed to be for winter. We have the summer. And then usually over here at this table is where we do our craft. So today we read a story during circle time and we made the snowy day since we're talking about winter. So each kid got to make glue and shaving cream and sprinkle some snow, and then we read our story at our circle time. And if you come over here, I'll show you where our bathroom is. And our sink. We have a sink here where we can wash our hands when we come in the morning. And then here's our bathroom over here, which also has another sink.
Hi, my name is Miss Marianne, and I teach 4-year-old classes Monday through Friday afternoons. And the first thing that the students do when they enter the classroom, they walk over with their coats and backpacks, and they come into the cubby area, and they locate their name, and they place their coat and backpack in their individual cubbies, and then they walk over to the sink back here and wash their hands for 20 seconds, and after they wash their hands for 20 seconds, they come over again back to their cubbies, pick up their supply box with their markers and scissors and glue, and walk over to the blue trays on the counter where we have their names. And here is where they trace their names, and then we sit here and identify letters of their names when they finish. And after that, they can go to the manipulative table where there's letters and fun things to do for the week. And I will hand it over to you, Miss Pat.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. I'm Miss Pat, and I work with Mary Ann Monday through Friday with the 4s also. Once they come in and started or once they're finished with their tracing of their names, we direct them over to our tables, and today is alphabet letter day, so they will be working on the letter B. We have a project, a little craft for them. They will color all the B words that are on the sheet, cut them out, and then they will decorate and insert them into their little boat, B for boat. We always try to incorporate the letter, its sound, and also to identify it. So we've got some manipulatives out. We have a match puzzle and stringing some a letter alphabets today. And also, we do put up the letter of the week with the words that begin with that letter and the sound of the letter.
I hope you enjoyed that classroom visit. Our last thing that we want to talk about today is registration. You can find all of the information for the upcoming school year on our website, and the information for the specific season will be in our brochure. We do require a $100 deposit to be put into a general class, which you will pick according to your desired schedule. If you do not get the spot that you wish for, we encourage everybody to put their names on the wait list. We have lots of changes over the summer, and we often go to our wait list, sometimes exhausting them. Our faculty will work together over the summer to do classroom placements. And once those classrooms are all done, we will announce which rooms your child will be in through email during the summertime. I encourage everybody to reach out to me or to Brooke with any questions. We want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable with all of the process. And we're looking forward to having those schedules up soon. All right, thank you.